Hello. Welcome. This is Wednesday at the 4 o'clock hour. Your host. We've developed a new show called Tailored Love. So I want to introduce my co-host today, Miss Taylor Wood. Hello.
Hello.
She is back in action, Miss Taylor Wood. Think Pretty Boutique, right?
That's me.
Where can we find you at?
You can find me shopthinkprettyboutique.com. Shop all my latest new drops. We just dropped a few new items. They're the best, so go check them out.
Oh, let me put that again. My time is only like 30 seconds, so I gotta we gotta hone in that.
We gotta hone in.
So basically, we're here every week to talk about relationships. I'm here with the CEO and owner of Think Pretty Boutique, and we like these shows because we want to be real and we want to kind of have topics and discussions with just people out there about different things, and the things that normally CEOs and owners deal with. Yeah. So
everyday life.
This is Tailored Love.
This is Tailored Love.
So anyway, we're here with Miss Taylor Wood. I cut that off. A relationship show.
Yes.
We were sat down. We're kind of talking about today's topics, and the thing that we wanted to first talk about is the importance of the nip tuck.
Yes, let's get into it.
Taylor is interested in getting some work done, and she wants some feedback, maybe, I don't know. So if there's any comments or questions out there regarding if you've had work done to yourself, which could include anything from lifts to tucks to buffs to
pokes and stabs,
whatever,
just any of it.
You want to make everything like straight and solid, whatever.
Yeah.
So if you have any experiences, please share them or leave any comments or questions there. We'll answer them as we go along. But this show is really designed to kind of explore what a relationship is and should be.
Yeah, totally.
And we're following Taylor's little life. She is single and ready to mingle and mingling.
Yes,
you should hear this. You should hear the stories. Oh, boy, you should hear the stories before we get on the air.
Ooh, should they though?
I don't know.
And
I share my experiences too, but again, I refrain from making them public because I am here to protect people.
Yes.
So the first question, the first thing we want to explore is the importance of getting things kind of taken care of. If you're, I guess, if you feel insecure about something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that was my whole point of starting like a nip tuck jar is what I call it. So just setting a little bit of money aside each time I get like maybe some cash or a paycheck just for the nip tuck jar. And then that can go towards, whatever.
And when you say nip tuck jar, what is that? What does that encompass?
Well, my main thing, like what I'm wanting done for myself, I'm wanting a boob job and maybe some lip injections and a few pokes here and there. I actually do have TMJ issues, so that's my excuse for that one.
TMJ?
Yeah, it can be helped with some Botox, like in your jaw. It's when your jaw makes that like...
It makes a noise?
Yeah, like it clicks.
Do you think that's just an insecurity that... Because I did have liposuction done.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it in particular areas where I felt inadequate in. No matter how hard I worked out, no matter how much weight I lost, there were just certain areas that I just couldn't, and nothing helped. Part of it was the man boobs thing. So I had that, removed, and I had my back love handles.
Oh yeah,
had those removed. And I will say there is a certain amount of emotional lift. Some confidence in there. But it still doesn't take away from the insecurities that you feel still.
Right.
I ballooned up to like 320 pounds at one point.
Oh, wow.
So it's taken a lot of work and taken a lot of internal emotional work to kind of get to this point where I feel a little bit more secure. But it was just that last little bit that kind of like sealed the deal. And I still have insecurity issues.
You're right.
And no matter, I think, with any kind of manipulation of your body, whatever physical, it still doesn't relieve the emotional or mental kind of anguish that all that shit brought. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I ever since my breakup back in February, I've lost about like 30 or plus pounds since the breakup. And I still feel like I'm the same as when I was in the breakup. Like, it's just, it doesn't help, honestly, like getting the procedures. Well, honestly, it might, because I don't know. I've never had plastic surgery, so I'm just assuming. I mean, I want to do it for me, and it is kind of more of an insecurity thing, I would say, just because, like, bringing it back to, like, social media, there's just so much to compete with nowadays. Like, people spend so much money on themselves.
Well, are you doing it for the business, or are you doing it for yourself?
Both. A little bit of both. I mean... it
Because
would
you're pretty
be-
fit. I mean, from everything that I've seen. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
she's got some pictures up on her Instagram
Go check it out.
that any 20-year-old would be very fond of watching.
Yes, yes.
But
yeah, but it's all a mental thing, like you can take a photo because you can pose and you can angle and you can filter it and whatever, but in real life, like you're with yourself every single day. So
and that's really hard because I think a lot of women, I think people in general compare themselves anyway.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's a female to another female's body or a man to like acquisition of whatever. Like if you're for a guy, for some reason they like cars,
right.
And the bigger, the nicer the car, whatever.
Right.
It's just odd how we compare ourselves. And if we just like compared ourselves to ourselves, and our own personal growth, how much further along we'd be.
Yeah.
And when you get to my point, you just don't care anymore. But
right.
There's still kind of that reminiscent.
Yeah,
caring,
like the little voice in the back of your head. Well, it's just funny because I feel like I do love myself. Like I am confident in myself, but at the same time, I'm not. Like it's like a constant battle up here in my head. Like when I'm by myself with myself, I'm like, this girl's pretty cool. Like I like her. Like she's cute or whatever. But then like the second I go out in public, it's like the comparison starts. I'm like, well, maybe I should have wore that instead. Maybe I should have wore that instead. Maybe why don't I look like that? Well,
that's the crazy part. No matter how old you get or no matter how confident you are, there's always going to be somebody that's cuter, hotter, funnier.
Always.
And then those insecurities, if you're with somebody, those kind of filter into that person. You're like, well, if you're, so I've had moments too, like at a comedy club, and the person you're with like laughing hysterically and you're like, I've never seen them laugh that hysterically with me. Maybe I need to be funnier or whatever. Or you're with a guy and he's checking out some girl who's taller or maybe skinnier, and you're like, oh well.
You're like, well,
I want you to look at me like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But that again, I think is regarding our own insecurities.
Yeah, because honestly, like. You could be Megan Fox. You could be a Victoria's Secret supermodel. And a boy is always going to keep looking at something else.
Yes.
And that's where it's like a constant battle, like in a girl's head, because they know, like, there is other things out there, but this person, like, chose to be with me. They love me. But what if they don't,
But do you think that that's the underlying thing where a female needs to feel more secure with the person they're with? I mean, if the relationship isn't necessarily secure in the beginning, like you're looking for any kind of cracks in the system, why are you with me? If you're not here for my looks, you're not here for this. There's a whole category list of things that you tend to put yourself into check with. And it's just like, it's not worth it if you're questioning yourself.
Right. No, exactly. That's exactly right. I feel like it is kind of, I don't want to say the partner's fault, but it does have to do with their actions, like the way that a girl feels in a relationship. Because if they don't feel validated and they feel like they're not getting the effort that they need or is required to make them happy, or they're feeling like this person is always checking out other girls and they don't think they're pretty, they don't think they're hot, like that says something about your partner, not you. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. Like they think, what's wrong with me? I mean, I do the same thing. I'm guilty of it too. But like sometimes I have to put myself in check. Like, no. I'm cool. It's fine.
We've already discussed the fact that we're both quirky. And,
yes.
We're very awkward in public.
Yes.
But we're very confident here for some reason.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And so, again, we're talking about getting work done. And I think Taylor has her nip tuck jar.
Yeah. I haven't started it yet. The sad thing is like I'm tempted to get a second, or I guess a third job. So it can be my nip tuck or my nip tuck. Job.
And you want to do what kind of work do you want to get done?
I want to get a boob job.
Yeah.
I've considered a fat transfer, but honestly, I'd rather just like go to the gym or something. I guess I don't know. Like that's kind of a lot of work.
Are you like on the Latina end where like everything has to be kind of curvy?
No, I definitely just want like just a little more something there. And like maybe some lips. And
do you think if you were confident in your relationship with whoever it was, that probably wouldn't necessarily be a necessity anymore?
Yeah, I don't think so, because I never really cared about like boobs, I guess, until like,
I guess what was the point you actually started caring? Was that right after that last relationship then?
Yeah, because I think I've realized a lot about myself since the breakup, and just like kind of going out and experiencing being like 21 and going to Old Town, because so many people there have had a lot of work done, like not in a bad way or anything, they just have had a lot of work done, and it just kind of makes me realize like that's what these guys are into. Like, if I want to get where I want to be in life, like,
Yeah.
I might just have to get a boob job. That sounds terrible, but
yeah, and that's the hard thing. You know, I think there's a lot of aspirations, and that's typically the quick fix of things, right? It's like just to do something quickly, and then you'll be done, right? You'll get the guy that you want. You kind of get the job that you want. If you just find the right situation, the right timing, it all works out, and it'll all be fine.
Right.
But it doesn't always work out that way.
Because the little voice is always going to be there in your head, and there's no way of stopping it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I what I ended up doing, what I lost, because so when I lost my weight, like I said, I ballooned up to about 320 pounds, and that whole process was more, again, the emotional journey. And I figured if I lost, just 10 more pounds, I'd feel better. And it just never got there. And even at this weight now, I still kind of go through that process and thinking that, if I just change one thing, if I do one more thing, that'll feel better. And it never goes away.
Yeah.
So it's really addressing those kind of underlying issues and those things that pervade that, I guess. Gabby's like on here like crazy. But so again, if you have any questions, hey Claire, how you doing? Not all guys like fake boobs.
That's true. My ex-boyfriend, he actually hated fake boobs, but he was a very into boobs kind of guy. So I don't know. It's definitely like a inner thing. Yeah, and I think with comparison.
Because again, I think with each gender, there's something very specific that they can portray. Mm-hmm. For a guy, it's their muscular positioning is really something that they can demonstrate and portray. For a female, it's more kind of the boobs or the legs maybe.
Yeah.
I'm more of a leg guy. It'll never be the top. It'll always be the bottom.
It'll always be the bottom.
I want to see the action on the bottom. But, like, again, if you guys have any comments or questions, we're talking about different aspects of relationships. We did want to address whether or not nipping and tucking and moving things around would be beneficial to anybody. But I will tell you, from a guy's perspective, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think from a guy, we've talked about this before too. Is just the tease of things,
Yeah.
which will go into our next subject, which is long-term relationships. Part of, a guy wanting a female is that tease,
right?
It's almost you as a guy, you appreciate more of the burlesque than the strip club, kind of thing.
Totally.
Where the wantonness of that, and to feel like you're the center of that girl's attention, and for her to kind of almost give it to you in a very literal way, almost give in, is more enticing than the actual giving in.
Right.
Because I've been in relationships where I got it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, if that's all we're doing, then it's just, there's really no long-term value.
Like, what is there to work with? Like, work for, like you already get everything you want.
And I think that's really a metaphor for the relationship. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It wasn't even so much about the physicality of it, even though the physical part was great.
Yeah.
It was more of kind of the back and forth that I think people want. And there has to be a finite balance, because you have to kind of stretch yourself far away to where you're not pulling so far apart that person leaves you.
Yeah.
But close enough to where that person stays. So that is I think the definite tricky part in any kind of relationship, and exploring that and being part of that process. Yeah. And it's hard because everybody's really emotionally selfish, which goes back into our next topic. So I'm here with Miss Taylor Wood from Think Pretty Boutique. We're here talking about relationships. We appreciate your comments and questions. Claire, how you doing? I didn't have any boobs until after the kids. Oh boy. So that could be something.
So that means I have to have a baby.
No, but maybe with Claire. We'll talk to Claire. And then the list does not a comparison. Just feel comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is I am comfortable. Oh. I mean, I am, but I'm not. But I don't know. It's a battle. It's a battle.
And so, and talking about that back and forth, one of the other topics we wanted to talk about was the long-term relationship, or long distance.
Long distance.
And so Taylor has a particular situation, not necessarily with herself.
Yes.
Because we don't want to include names. No. And, we don't talk about situations, but there are somebody in her life that, a girl. Mm-hmm. You want to explain the situation a little bit?
Yeah. So a close friend of mine, she met a guy, and they actually met at the clubs, and they hit it off, and they went out to dinner. They hooked up. They did the deed, and he continues to talk to her, but he lives in New York, and she lives here in Arizona. It's a very interesting situation because I feel like most guys, if they're going on a little bachelor's trip, you know, like they're just gonna hit it and quit it. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Am I allowed to say that?
There's no rules.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, nothing in writing that I know.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel like most guys are just going to hit it and quit it, you know, go back to their state, never talk to the girl again, because that's what the rest of the guys' friends did. But with my friend, it was a different situation. They still talk. He wants her to come out to New York, but she comes to me every single day questioning whether or not he might like her or might not, because he's not putting in the same effort that she's giving. You know, he says he wants her to come to New York, but then he doesn't give her work schedule or his work schedule so she can fly out, which she's asked him a million times if she can come. And she gives this guy like all of the time of the day. Like, she's super loyal to him when we go out together. Like, he is always on her mind. And it just says something. If you have to question every single day whether this guy likes you or not because of the effort he's putting in, then that says something about his character, and that says something about his intentions on the relationship.
So we'll take your comments or questions regarding long-term relationships. I will chime in a little bit. I think because Violet and I were seeing each other for nearly a year and a half in a long-term situation, and it does require work on both ends, and you both really have to want it to work. You know, there are circumstances, situations where there's going to be barriers. And I think that was part of the enticement, too, is that you couldn't necessarily always have somebody right then and there.
And I think that's why she's so attracted to this guy, is because she knows she can't have him because he's so far away.
Yeah, and of course, if she's constantly having to chase that, then his emotional interest isn't there. It has to be somewhat balanced. But at the same time, too, your friend might need that. Your friend might need that distance to where she needs a problem.
Right.
So I think at the end of the day, it's really exploring what that is more so than waiting for this guy. And apparently she's already kind of given up the thing.
Yes. She gave the prize up.
She gave up the goods.
She did. And she's brought this up to him multiple times, the fact that he's not putting in the same effort. Like, she asks him all the time, like, are you sure you like me? Like, I want you to know, like, you're not stuck with me. Like, if you don't want to talk to me anymore, just let me know. And he's always like, no, of course I want to talk to you. Like, I just had a long day or something. But it's like, come on. What are you really here for?
I think it's easier when you're out of it, and then there's so many things that you justify while you're in it.
Right. Like, coming from an outsider's perspective is just like, I wish she could just see from my perspective. Because I'm like, honey, like, she has met some cute guys when we've been out, and she has declined them for this man in New York.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, you said how long? 2 months?
Yeah, maybe like 2 months.
Yeah, I think the marker of any kind of, and this is just, again, we're not scientific around here.
Oh God, no.
So I think the marker of any kind of establishing relationship is kind of that 3 month thing. You know, is it more physical? Is it more emotional? Is it, you know, a combination of both? What is the true investment on both ends? And I think that really kind of culminates by that 3rd month.
Yeah, no.
You know, because I think by then you're kind of revealing yourself. You know, the same lines, the same jokes.
Right.
You know, don't necessarily apply anymore. It's not, you know, I thought it was funny the first time, but you've told that same joke like 10 times, and I'm not laughing as much anymore. So it's not as appealing as it was, and trying to break through that barrier happens around that 3rd month mark.
Yeah. And I think they're going to hit that mark very soon, because they were talking about it again today, her coming to New York, and he again was just like, honestly, like, I just don't know my work schedule, and I would hate for you to come all the way here and get stuck with me
And then
working.
probably, I mean, the truth of it is he probably has something going on over there too.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's the thing, is she is definitely out of his league. Like, he's not that cute. Like, she could do so much better. And if he doesn't have the
What's the
looks,
appeal?
that's what I'm saying. I think it's because he's so far away, and then he's just not giving her what she wants. If he was like all lovey-dovey with her, I feel like she would have ditched him a while ago. But the fact that he's not putting in the effort, not giving her the time of day, not giving him the same effort that she's giving him, it's just driving her crazy, and it just drives her to her more, or to him more.
Yeah, I'd say if we had more time, I'd delve into her kind of background a little bit more and try to understand like where her parents learned. I mean, you grew up around just your mom, right?
Yeah.
So part of I think I don't know if you want to talk about this, but
I don't care. I don't care. I'm not
I think part of the challenges you face are not really having an established male influence in your life. And that's challenging when it comes to other male relationships. You don't necessarily know how they function and
Right.
can't really see when they're being sincere versus being just kind of fickle.
Oh, yeah.
You know, being the person that you want them to be versus the person they're trying to pretend to be.
Right.
You know, and having a consistent male figure in your life would kind of help with that. I don't know if you had any of that.
No, not really. It was always like my mom had different boyfriends, you know, just kind of in and out. And yeah, there was never a solid figure, I guess.
Yeah, and see, that's the deficit, I think, of our culture today. That's a reflection of like not of a single parent household.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have the influence of both genders, and you need both. And you know, can a mom do it all on her own? I believe so, absolutely. Can they raise a child? Yes, but the same time, they need that kind of ulterior kind of perspective.
Oh, right.
That
Definitely.
balance between the two, and it's a challenge again that we didn't have. I was fortunate to have both parents, you know, and so I can kind of negotiate that and understand that a little bit better. But I mean, there are challenges with that too, just like anything else. So a lot of it is self-reflection.
Yes, definitely.
So, but anyway, so talking about long-term relationships, did you have any questions for me?
I mean, how was your experience with a long-term relationship? I am curious.
You know, like I said at the beginning, I have
Or long distance.
Yes,
Long distance.
Let's make it clear. So I recognize if you follow John Bowlby, and he talks about attachment theory. And so for the most part, there are three types of attachments. There's anxious, there's avoidant, and then there's stable. You know, and I vastly argue that there's no stable relationship, but I haven't seen one. So there's anxious types and avoidant types, and I would say I'm more on the anxious spectrum, where I constantly need reassurance in a relationship. I constantly need somebody to be checking in, to making sure that I'm okay. I guess to feel significance within myself. But, you know, and if I don't get it, I yearn for it and I keep chasing after people.
Yeah.
You know, especially if they're avoiding me, if they're distant. I am just like your friend.
Yes.
You know, and that's the challenge of that. You want to find these little confirming things. Oh, well, she texted me. Or, oh, he said he would think about it. And you attach to this, like these little cookie crumbs of emotion. And you're like, you know, I don't get this from anybody else, but this person I'm interested in is giving me just a little nibble. And it feeds into this bigger vast of neediness, you know, and I've had to address that on my own. And then, of course, there's the avoidant type who just constantly pushes away, you know, and you need that anxious person that's always chasing and the one that's kind of pulling away. Right. And that's that kind of balance and understanding that.
So do you think those two mesh the best in a relationship, as anxious and avoidant?
Do they mesh the best? I think they need each other.
Do you think it makes the best relationship?
Does it make the best relationship? Only if both of them are aware and conscious of their issues.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The reason the avoidant is avoiding the relationship is because they're scared, they're insecure, they're trying to defend themselves. And the anxious one, again, is just trying to look for that constant reassurance, that sense of significance with somebody else.
Right.
So it's a balance. Is it a good balance? No. You know, until both are firmly aware of what the issues are and why one chases and one avoids. But if you get two anxious people, and it could be a crazy like first meeting, it could be like this really cool like blowout kind of a relationship. But it'll soon vastly, like the neediness will be too overwhelming and both will just separate.
Definitely.
And the same thing for the avoidant. The avoidant is always looking for that confirmation from distance.
Yes.
And if two people are distant, well, you know, he's not calling me, so I guess he doesn't really like me.
What was the third one? Attached?
Oh, stable. There's others too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But if you go strictly to John Bowlby, I'll send you a video on that.
Okay, yeah.
If you go to and look anything John Bowlby regarding attachment theory, it'll help explain that a little bit. And once you're consciously aware of some of those things, you can kind of correct your behavior.
Yeah.
And realize that, you know, I'm just a needy person.
Right. I feel like I am part of the anxious attachment style. But at the same time, I feel like I'm also kind of avoidant because I crave the reassurance and I like to have it. But at the same time, I don't beg for it. Like, if you're not going to give it to me, I'm just going to deal with it, I guess. Like, I'm not going to be like, sit there and just be like, why don't you love me? Like, tell me how much you love me every day. You know, like I can't.
Well, in my experience too, you become one of the other.
Yeah.
So if somebody's really anxious, you become somewhat avoidant. You kind of hide and you're like, oh, this guy's really needy. You know?
Yeah. Yes.
And then it's somebody that's really attractive. You're like, he hasn't called me back. He hasn't called. I see the little, oh shit, he didn't respond.
Yes, yes.
You see those little dots going back and forth, and you're like,
yeah, like this guy I was really interested in. We were talking a bit. We were talking for a few weeks actually. Okay. And you know, he's not like the hottest guy in the world. He's not like anything like super special, but it was the fact that he wasn't giving me the same attention that other guys were giving me. And the other guys that are giving me all this attention, I'm like, I don't want you. I want the one who's not giving me the attention. Like,
yeah, because you want to explore that. And again, that's that kind of
like what we talked about last week. Like we want to be that person's like passion, I guess, you know,
their time and attention, that your presence is good enough to take their time and attention.
Right.
And you know, and when somebody's not constantly giving it to you, like, and that's the fault of all guys. That's the one thing that they have to realize, is not to be so needy, because a woman just sees right through that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the same thing for women. Do not be needy either.
Yeah.
You know, play that game a little bit.
Play the game.
You know, but not do it in a way that's destructive. It's like it's recognizing those behaviors and seeing it within somebody and giving somebody enough reverence to be like, hey, you know what, you have some particular issues that really match my issues. So let's work on this together.
Yes. Why does there have to be so many games with relationships? That's what I don't understand. Well, you know, like, why do we have to do that? Like, the ones who don't want us, like, you know, we have to kind of change the way that we are, like, not be needy, not reach out to them. Like, you know, if they're gonna leave me on red, like, okay, well, now I'm gonna leave you on red, like vice versa.
That's why I think it's important to consistently just be yourself. You know, whatever that is, and continue that kind of path of self-discovery, and know that, hey, we're all broken people, and that no matter what you do or what I do, there's a lot I need to learn. And when you're in that mode of really self-development and understanding your own emotions and where you're at, I think you can have that space with somebody that's along that same lines, and you will almost produce, you know, people in your life that are along that same path. If you're constantly meeting people that are just either ignoring you or constantly not wanting to be in your life, it's probably because you're presenting yourself as a needy person. Right. And they're just trying to stay away. Yeah. And then, of course, if there's always guys coming on to you, then you're probably presenting yourself as somebody that's avoidant and needing that attention. Right. You know, and I think, so that's disregarding gender, by the way. So I think anytime women post anything, even if it's like just a confident picture, you got like, you know, 40 guys liking or whatever. Yeah. But I will say you receive kind of what you put out. And so whatever that is to you, whether that's physical, emotional, whatever it is, like you get on Facebook and you see like people who are depressed. You know, they're constantly wearing black and everything's like horrible, and they put up those memes that are just like depressing. And you're like, I can't hang out with that person. Yeah. It's because that's what they're constantly projecting. Totally. And then the people that like and comment on other stuff, if you go to their page, almost the same thing. Yep. So you get kind of what you put out.
Oh, totally. So totally.
Can you believe it's been 28 minutes?
No. Oh my gosh.
We're already at the end of the show.
What?
So we're already at the end of the show.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So quick shotgun questions, right?
All right.
Pros and cons of relationships.
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
All right. Should I whip out my pros and cons?
Oh, you already have a list?
Yeah, I do. I literally made.
She has lists.
I made a pros and cons list. Everybody, here we go.
Oh boy. Okay, so pros and cons.
So this was a guy that I was talking to briefly, just a little bit, flirting around.
You got 2 minutes.
I was very okay. Long story short, for pros, just listen to how terrible this is. Pros: cute, active, successful with a question mark, great bod, seems fun, things in common. Cons: can't hold a conversation to save his life, very dry, talks to multiple girls, no effort ever, men on Hinge, leaves me on red, Snapchats instead of texts, F-boy for sure, high Snapchat score, which is like, if they have a high Snap score, that means they're talking to a lot of people. Never asks me on a date, only hits me up if I look good on my Snapchat.
Is a Snap score?
Yes. So, as you can see, or as you can hear, the whatchamacallit?
He's a no.
The cons are way more than the pros. And the pros are literally just that he's cute and possibly successful.
I will say, if you're getting to a pro and con list with anybody, It's
an
probably a
automatic
no.
Yeah, definitely. Can
And
we
that-
tell my brain that, please? Because I'm still on red,
you're
and
being
now I
like
want him.
You're being like your friend.
I am, but I'm not sitting here messaging him going, why don't you like me? Do you still like me? Getting that reassurance. See, in my head, I ask myself those things, but I don't actually go to the guy and ask for those things.
Did you go all the way around bases with this guy?
No, we've actually never even met in person.
No. Why are you so emotionally? Why are you ruining a pro and con list for somebody you haven't met yet?
Because he's
Oh my
cute
God.
and successful with a question mark.
What do you mean he's successful?
I don't know.
That's what he's on Instagram for? I mean, what
No.
measures success?
I mean, he just has a good job. Like, I don't know.
What does he do?
Honestly,
What's
I
his
don't
name?
even remember. No.
Just kidding. What does he do?
I honestly can't remember. I think something within like
So he's just cute.
He's just cute. He's just cute, and he doesn't give me attention. So I'm like, well, why not?
So if you want Taylor's attention, just ignore her.
Yes, pretty much. Except no, because I will not double text. Yeah.
So anyway, that's today's show today. I don't know what we accomplished, what we achieved, but we did talk about a lot.
We did. We got a lot of good stuff out there, I think.
Yeah, we projected out. So if you have any more questions, if you want fashion tips, I mean, Taylor's got a website that you can go get some cutesy, boutique-y type of
clothes.
Type of clothes.
Shop Think Pretty Boutique.
You can say it. It's fine.
Shop Think Pretty Boutique. Go shop our new launches we just dropped. They are super cute. We have more coming this week, so keep your eyes out.
I gotta start this over again. So anyway, we're at the end of the day's show. We're talking about relationships I think we're changing it to Tuesday.
Tuesday? Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna change it to Tuesday. Sometime in the afternoon. Watch us on the replay. Give us some likes. Give us some comments. We'll be back next week to kind of explore these relationship things with the CEO and owner of Think Pretty Boutique, Miss Taylor Wood. Hold on. So we'll catch you guys next week.
Robert himself, everybody. Come on,
me
give
too.
us a round of applause.
Oh shit. Okay, I'll do myself.
There we go.
Then I gotta start up. There you go.
Technical difficulties.
No, never.
Never.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next
All
week.
right. Bye.